Live from parts unknown, you're listening to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast, the only wrestling podcast on the planet, we think. Sit back, relax, prepare for positivity to run through your veins as Simon Miller gives you your weekly dose of powerful pro wrestling audio. It is Miller Time.
Hello and welcome to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Simon Miller, and yes, this is a pro wrestling podcast. I get asked this every week, so I'll remind you now, there is 2 episodes a week. One goes live on Wednesday, one goes live on Friday. Sometimes the dates fluctuate, but you can go watch them all now. They both go up on YouTube as well, youtube.com/The Miller Report rules. And yeah, the more people that listen, the happier I am. So thank you to everyone who has tuned in so far. The cool thing about this Friday episode, if you don't know and you are brand new, and hello and welcome, is that we always get a Patreon on. Patreon.com/Simon316 is how I'm able to do all of my personal stuff, because obviously you have to have some kind of income. That's how the world works. And I thought, you know what? We can use that to get people on to chat to me about wrestling. And so far, it's working out really well, especially because now we're slowly starting to get people coming on twice. It's all good when someone debuts and it's exciting. But, you know, you build up a relationship. And that's why I'm very happy to say that my man, all the way from San Diego, Cheval, is back on the podcast. Dude, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Simon.
No, you're very welcome, dude. As I said to you before we started last time, was a joy, and I have no doubts that today is going to be a joy as well. Right, there are some specific things we want to talk about that we mentioned before. However, I will start trying to be as topical as I can be. And it's not a major story, but, you know, it came out around about 2 hours ago. I watched the press conference, don't know why, but I did. That WrestleMania is heading to Tampa, Florida in 2020, WrestleMania 36. They've got a badass flag logo that I quite like for some reason. Don't know why. I guess I'm just into pirates. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, dude, but, you know, you live on the West Coast. How do you feel about... I tell you what is interesting. Do you think it's a bit weird that WrestleMania is going to Florida for the second time in 4 years? That surprised me. I thought WWE liked to sort of roll it out a little bit.
It's funny. My wife just asked me like last night, do you know where WrestleMania is going to be next year? And I told her, I really don't know. She said, you know, where it has been in the last 10 years, you know, so it's... because I was in WrestleMania in Florida in 28.
All right.
In Miami, yeah. So it was great. But it's always Florida, and then New York, and then New Orleans, and that's it. I don't know, like it was one time in the Silicon Valley. Right? It was
it was
WrestleMania 29 right. Or something.
Yes, of course. So would you go back to Florida? Would you make that trip?
No, it's too far. It's 6 hours flight. No, I'm not
but that's the point, though, dude. They want fly-ins. They want everyone to converge on the same space.
No, and we're really like upset about. We have, you know, San Diego. We have no football team also here, so there's no really like stadium. I mean, there is a stadium, but it's like super super old. And I told my wife, listen, I mean, back in WrestleMania 24, I think I heard like Chris Jericho said something about the, you know, it was like in a really really old stadium, and they just put like, you know, a few $1 million into the renovation, and it turned up like really really great, you know. So I think that's when Ric Flair was retired.
Yeah, I was at that one. I remember that one. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, so they can do the same thing here in San Diego. I mean, I want a hometown WrestleMania one time. But I don't think they're gonna come to San Diego anytime soon.
That kind of sucks as well, because San Diego is really cool.
You know what? I will fly to see it in your hometown, or, you know, in London or whatever it is, or in Manchester or in Wembley Stadium, right? I will go to Wembley Stadium, and then not to go to Florida.
I mean, that's all I've seen over here today, like, be it on social media or friends and family. Like, oh, why isn't it coming to England? Why isn't it coming to England? I don't really have an answer anymore. I mean, you know, 15 years ago I would have done. But, you know, people don't really care about time difference anymore, and the network obviously negates that. You know, it's a strange one. I know that SummerSlam, whatever, 1992 was not profitable. Yeah, it was not profitable. Like, I don't think they made any money off of it. But that was, you know, it was so ago.
Special, though. It was so special. It was amazing.
It was, exactly, and also it was so long ago. I don't think you can, you know, match business metrics from 1992 up to 2019. I don't know if we're ever going to get a WrestleMania outside of the US, not taking Canada, also North America, I should say. But I certainly think they should experiment with it. I mean, I really, really do. I'm surprised we haven't had it as of yet. But hey, who knows what the future holds? But yeah,
the crowd is just amazing over there. I mean, I watch even NXT UK, and it feels like it's 10,000 people, and they're in front of 1,000 maybe. I don't know. Like it's great.
I think that would be the really cool thing about if it did, especially over here in the UK. If you did it in like, I don't know, the Wembley Stadium or something like that, the crowd would be so electric. Like, they're good when they come over for Raws and SmackDowns. But so for an event that big, especially if it was, the first time that WWE's done it outside of North America for something like that, I think the UK especially would just go nuts. I think it would be brilliant. And given that, they have a relationship here, it's where the first NXT outside of America performance center was set up, and they've got NXT UK. So it's not like it's not a secondary home for WWE. But I don't think it's going to happen for a while. Maybe 2024, but who knows?
Maybe.
The other thing I want to talk to you about as well before we move on to proper Pastors New is you were able to go to the Royal Rumble. I know it was a couple of months ago now, but I still find it fascinating. Because as we were talking about before we went live, I didn't realize before I started watching it how weird the baseball stadium would look. I actually quite liked it because I always enjoy it when a set looks different. It's why, many reasons, but it was one of the reasons why I enjoyed WWE Evolution last year because it just looks so much different to everything else. However, you had a vastly different experience to that. So because going to one of the big four pay-per-views is cool. So man, just run me through it. Was it good? Was it bad? What was the baseball stadium like? Just tell me about your experience.
Okay, so as far as experience as a member in the audience, I will never go back to the stadium ever again.
That's not funny,
I know it's pretty close here, and like I told you, by the way, my wife and we're gonna have a baby in 2.5 weeks, so that's why we basically went, because it's gonna be the last vacation. So it was really great. We got a nice place to stay, and we went to Access, and we went to NXT Takeover. Takeover was amazing. But when I went to the stadium, I really hoped after like an hour or so that it can really look good on the screen, because millions of people watching it on the screen, and then 48,000 over there. It wasn't comfortable at all. It was like light on the audience for the first hour and a half, I think, on each section, and it was like really bother them, and they started chanting, "Turn off the light." I don't know if they can hear it on TV. We had floor seats in the beginning, and then we changed it to the other side. It was way more comfortable over there, but when we changed seat, we just like looking at the big screen most of the time, and then the ring was underneath it, but it's really far. You can't really see too much. So it's basically watching TV with 48,000 people. That's it. Like I'm watching big screen TV.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I saw a few people talking about that, but I don't think it kind of permeated as much as it probably should have done, because that's terrible. You don't want that. When you go to the Royal Rumble, you want a decent experience.
100%, and especially, I mean, we didn't get like so cheap tickets, it was like floor seats, and but really, I mean, even the floor, you have to really sit super close in order to get like a good experience. Everything was far. There was no good seats in all over the arena. That's
nuts, man. But what did you? I mean, obviously, you had the atmosphere, which is cool. Watching it on a big screen isn't the best. But what did you think of the event itself, or did it really was it hampered because you couldn't get into it in the way that you wanted to?
The event itself was pretty cool. We got there. I think it was the pre-show. I think when we were at the gates, I think it was Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev or something, right? On the pre-show.
Yeah.
I think the show was really good. It just like messed up, like everybody said. Again, it was a few months ago, so I don't know if people still in it. But the women's Royal Rumble was supposed to close the show, 100%.
In what sense? Like, you think that just because the way it was booked, or did you hear some stuff?
And then I'm like, okay, I mean, we'll see what's going on in the men's Royal Rumble. Maybe they have something in plan, because, listen, when Becky Lynch showed up, and we knew she was going to show up. Everybody knew, like, even around us and the people in front of us. But when she won, it was people went nuts. I mean, my wife. I mean, I almost cried my wife, all the environment like around us, everybody was like on like, let's end the show now. Now it was such a rush. Seriously, it was such a rush, and everybody was so overwhelmed, and it was like very feels like a very the super main, like the end of the main event. And then I was so exhausted by then, and it was like still the beginning of the show, and or halfway there. And I went to grab a drink and some popcorn and something, you know, from the vendors, and I didn't care about the next match. And the next match was Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And when I came back, because it was was too long, and I came back, and then I see Rowan in the ring, and the match ended.
I forgot about that. I forgot that's where it started.
Yeah. And I'm like,
so surreal.
I'm like, what the hell is he doing here? And why? And what happened? I'm like, you know what? I'll watch it at home. There's no, you know, I just needed a break. You know, they should have like a band singing a song or something for like, I don't know, performing for like 10 minutes, because everybody was just, wow, like the crowd was silent in all of the match of Daniel Bryan versus, and they don't deserve it at all. And just the Becky moment was just too good. I mean, my wife at the end of the match, like she went to WWEshop.com and she bought like 2 The Men shirts, you know, because one of them was like $1. Yeah, she was so hyped, you know, and she didn't even pay attention to Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, which is not fair.
No, I mean, I said at the time, like the worst thing, you know, the worst thing that they did was put them in that spot, because I've gone back to watch that match afterwards and tried to, you know, ignore the crowd and stuff. And it's a really, really good match, but you know,
the match is good.
Yeah, but it was, like you said, everything else just suffered, because how could you? Well, you couldn't. How could you top that moment? Especially because it was booked really well as well. Like, I thought everything they put together for that. You had swerves, and yeah, it was just a very, very strange event. Probably too long too. I remember being absolutely worn out by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, and like everything is for Nia Jax to interfere in the men's rumble and then be a part of it. I mean, that was the whole switch. I mean, couldn't it done like, you know, you can still do the same thing, you know, just book the men's, you know, before that, and the women's on the main event, and that's it. I mean, she can still be on both or something, but
I guess I guess in their head they thought it would be a good surprise for number 30. But you're right, if Becky Lynch is going to win, like, why can't you have Nia Jax be in both? Yeah, the other way around. It doesn't really make that big a difference, because when it goes off air, people won't be talking about it anyway. They're going to be talking about Becky Lynch.
Oh my God. And that was just that was the moment. I mean, we love Seth Rollins, everything was fine. I mean, he won, but the excitement was like, okay, yay. I mean, we're happy, but over there it was just like, we are like, all the emotion is just like, you know, exploded, that's what's telling you was supposed to close the show. That's it.
No, I think that's fair. It sucks as well that it really does suck that baseball stadium wasn't a good place to sit in, because again, it looked really cool on TV. It looked awesome, but you know, if you don't get a good live experience, what's the point, right? It's irrelevant. It means absolutely nothing.
I did like when I watched it back on TV. So I saw, because the entrance was kind of cool and the crowd behind them. There's this. It's a cool visual. I mean, I get it, but as a member of the audience, it was just horrible to watch it.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, man. I think it's fair. Like, again, especially when you've you spent money and you can't see something, there's no excuse for that. Like, it ruins it. Of course, it ruins it for you, because deep down, you know that you're missing out on something that you paid for, which, you know, that absolutely sucks. I mean, it just does. There's no two ways about it. Mm-hmm. Moving on to, we're going to talk about Fastlane in a minute. Of course we are. That's happening in a couple of days. But there was one piece of news I wanted to reference too, as well as the WrestleMania 36 news. I was a bit surprised by this. Obviously, Jeff Jarrett is back in the fold when it comes to WWE. We've seen him on TV recently. And yet now it's come out today, rather recently too, I think it's in the last 20 minutes or so, that he's going to be joining the WWE creative team on a permanent basis. Now, there were some rumours, it's true that Bruce Pritchard had gone back to the WWE, but nobody seems to be sure, you know, what his role is. You know, at one point he was Vince McMahon's right-hand man, then it turned out he was a consultant. We don't really know where that lies. But there's no animosity or confusion around the Jeff Jarrett thing. Jeff Jarrett is 100% being added onto the WWE creative team. I mean, look, I like Jeff Jarrett a lot. I've been lucky enough to meet him a couple of times. I think he's got a really, really good brain for pro wrestling. But how that then corresponds to being with that, I don't know. I have no idea. Dude, what's your thoughts?
I think I don't think it's bad. I think he has. I mean, he started their organization. I mean, him and his family. So he's a really brilliant man. We'll give him a chance. I mean, I think he has a lot to offer, and I think I hope it's gonna be. It can't get much worse than what we have. In the last few months. so I hope Monday Night Raw and Bruce Pritchard and Jeff Jarrett will help a little bit. I mean, if people are listening to Bruce Pritchard podcasts, so they know what his role is basically used to be. And I think it's he's going back to the same spot when he was like he's Vince's right hand, and he's producing a lot of backstage stuff, and Vince is, trust him to do a good job. How much effect is going to be on it? We'll see. Because the way they handle, I don't think the Bruce Pritchard and Jeff Jarrett are gonna make so much difference. I think Triple H needs to be a little bit more in Vince's ear, because Triple H is doing a great job in NXT, and it's not reflect on the main roster. And then, like, for example, see how they introduced the 4 NXT call-ups, and I as a fan. And throughout the years, when we have, the Raw after WrestleMania, we want to have some kind of surprises. You can spread it out in a few weeks, or invasion kind of thing, or like Triple H just came to the ring and then announced them, and it was like, really? That's how you're going to do this? And we were like, because my wife told me literally, pause, because when Triple H was inside the ring, like, who do you think it is? Because we know it's not going to be Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, or Tommaso Ciampa. So who else is going to be? Maybe Velveteen Dream, maybe this, maybe that. And then they called all 4 of them, which was super, super weird. And now they're doing a triple duty, like I don't know. It's weird.
So you think it would have been better if they had built that up more? Do you think they kind of, terrible term, but shot their load too quickly? Like, they kind of just... It was strange in the sense that we all turned into the episode of Raw, and nobody expected that, and then all of a sudden, oh, okay, they're here, and, we had those kind of strange biographical videos just, informing people that weren't familiar with NXT who these guys were. And that was that. And then, and then now here we are a couple of weeks later. Obviously, the Gargano-Ciampa stuff has kind of slowed down a little bit because Ciampa's got injured and Gargano's a little bit in limbo. Yeah.
And that's such a bad news. I mean, you know what? It's bad news and it's a little bit good news, because he wasn't supposed to be... Don't turn him face. He's not a face. This is not his role. He's not supposed to be like that. And now they have another chance to reintroduce him to the main roster. And then I think in a better, bigger and better way. And then by the way, last night it's funny, we watched Fighting with My Family of the movie of Paige.
Okay, yeah.
So it was kind of a neat movie and everything. And then I came back home and I really and I put the network and I rewatched the Raw after WrestleMania when she came after WrestleMania 30, and she got a great pop because WrestleMania crowd is hot and they know everybody. And that's how you introduce a new superstar from NXT coming to the main roster. When they hit the music, people knew her. People were chanting her name. So why not do it? And you're really, really close to WrestleMania, and you had a really, really big opportunity to introduce Gargano and Ciampa, or even just 2 of them, or I don't know. I think they just missed the payoff of the whole thing, because NXT and calling to the main roster, if they're really, really big superstars, I mean, just that's the only thing you did right, and now you messed it up also.
What did you think of the movie, Fighting with My Family? I was lucky enough to see it back in December on on a press screening.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's how I think it's let me phrase that. It's an enjoyable enough movie. But my big thing is everyone keeps calling it a wrestling movie, and I'm like, look, I don't want to be a pedant here, but it's not a wrestling movie. To me, it's more like a British movie that just so happens to feature wrestlers. You know, I think I grew up watching British films and British cinema, and when you kind of get a quote unquote feel good one like that, they all kind of follow the same story, and they just pick a subject to build it around. And obviously, if you're into wrestling, it's really cool because you know Paige, you know NXT, and you know WWE, so they're saying all these words that you understand. But I think it hasn't been made for that person. I think you make a wrestling movie, it's designed for the very core audience. And I don't think that's the case. I think this has been made with some nice references to those that will get it. But I think mostly it's been made for a more casual audience who can come in, watch it, enjoy a feel-good story about somebody that lived their dreams, kind of play around with the story a little bit so it plays out better than it did in real life. And then you walk away after an hour and a half and you never think about it again. Nothing wrong with that, absolutely. I mean, the opposite of that is something like The Wrestler, which is very hard-hitting, and when you do walk away from that, you think, goodness gracious, what have I just sat through? And I don't think Fighting with My Family is that. I don't think it's that at all. I think you could have done this with any subject matter. Like you could have done it with football or ballet. You just pick one. They just happen to do it around the story of Paige because she has had an interesting life.
She has interesting life. I think the casual audience will, because it's a true story. So people they're invested. They, even if they're not a part of this world. I mean, I think they done it in a good taste and not too much. And there's the whole thing. I didn't even know all the stuff with her brother that he tried up. He tried also to join WWE and he didn't get it. And so they really told the story about them almost together and their relationship. And of course, if you're a WWE fan, so it's of course you think even more about the movie. But it's they did it in good taste. The Rock was there. It was a pretty funny moment. Vince Vaughn was actually pretty good. Yeah,
I like Vince Vaughn. I read a load of reviews that people said he phoned it in. I was like, I quite liked his role. I thought it was easy to. It was just easy. I mean, it's not going to win any awards, but it was just a nice and easy, fair enough portrayal. I thought he was fine.
It wasn't too long. It was easy, just go watch it. You don't want to watch it in the movies, go grab it. Just wait until it's going to be on cable and watch it with your family, and that's it. And it's a cool movie.
It is. It's such a Netflix movie. Do you know what I mean? Once it makes once it makes it to streaming services, if you don't watch it, then something's gone drastically wrong because it's just made. you could join that movie at 32 minutes in and you haven't missed anything. You'll be able to pick up on the story within about 30 seconds. It is designed for that. But look, it's done pretty well. It's nice to see wrestling being used in a more mainstream format. I'm always up for that. And yeah, it's fine. It's good. The fact that I haven't chatted about that much, I think kind of sums it up. It's just there and it's okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about Fastlane because that's only a couple of days away. Before we get into predictions, man, tell me what you think of the build because you mentioned how you weren't so high on the NXT guys, and the thing that I'm starting to learn over the last couple of days is not a lot of people like what WWE's done with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio today. Dave Meltzer strongly hinted that maybe something has gone on behind the scenes that has thrown a bit of a spanner into the works. Like I say, he was very coy about what he was talking about. So that's me speculating from the information that I heard. But I thought it's been okay. I don't think it's been major, but or incredible. I think that it's done the job, and I'm certainly still invested in what they're doing, but I think I may be in the minority with that, dude. So, just let me, do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you still think it should main event? Are you a Ronda Rousey girl, a man? Where are you feeling?
Oh man, I think most people agree that Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey's singles match was supposed to main event WrestleMania. I think adding Charlotte Flair to the match is not going to hurt it. It's going to make it a lot better because Charlotte is let's face it, she's the greatest female I'm going to say it, of all time. She's great.
No, I think it's fair, man. I wouldn't argue it.
She's great on the microphone. She has great expressions. Her feud with Sasha Banks back in the day. amazing. Everything was amazing. She was crying at the outside, and she was so, and she can do a lot of things. She is superior than all the others. So adding her to the match is not going to hurt the match. It's going to make it like a classic. I think it's going to be even more reasons for Vince to book it as the main event as the last match. The thing is, when Becky was hot with the feud with Charlotte and everything, and she was supposed to turn heel, that's why people cheered her. And she had like the attitude of, I don't give a crap about any of you. And she was going in the performance center and face her and the shooting, and she was standing up, above her with a title, and people really, really liked it. We're not seeing the same Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch now is Vince's version of a baby face. Because it has to, she's not Daniel Bryan, and you're putting her in a Daniel Bryan kind of a situation to all against all odds, and with and the knee injury and another, and I get it. It's a Hollywood story, it's a Hollywood movie, but we cheered her because she was not like that. She got what she was supposed to. What she wanted, because she had this attitude. She has this more of a stone cold attitude than the Daniel Bryan story, if it makes sense. So now it comes down a little bit. Ronda Rousey was supposed to be, I don't know if she's supposed to be a heel, because now she turned heel. But you have also Charlotte, so you have one baby face trying to overcome two big heels, and I don't know. We all know what's the end of WrestleMania is going to be, and I think the time between we are cheering Becky and the Royal Rumble and everything all the way to WrestleMania was just too long for them to book it in a simple way, and they had to complicate so many things. So that's why they did it.
No, I can see that. I'm still invested. I still like it, and as I said on Ups and Downs this week, I don't know why, but. Maybe for all the reasons you've just said, I still think Becky Lynch is great. I think everything she's done,
is great.
Yeah, I think everything she's done since the summer of last year has been nothing short of incredible. Like, she absolutely owned her character, she owned the storyline, and she took her opportunity and she ran with it. And let's not forget, that she had to put up with some bad booking, because at first she was running down the fans and saying, I don't like you, I don't like you. But she got past that, right? Clearly somebody backstage, and hopefully Becky Lynch pushed for it too, saying that, this is not going to work. Like, fans aren't going to go against me. And they didn't. They changed it back. So I really do think it's a full credit to her. And we wouldn't be in this position if she hadn't owned all of this like she had. But I don't know, for some reason, over the last, maybe the last couple of weeks when I've been watching it, this is a completely instinctual thing. It's not me sitting on my high horse just to be difficult, as I know some people do. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But I still think that she should win at WrestleMania 35. And I totally believe that she will win. I think that is how you close off that story in the right way. But I would also say that if Ronda retained or Charlotte Flair won it, I wouldn't be as... I'm never outraged about wrestling, because I always try and approach wrestling for what it is. It's a form of entertainment and I love it. I don't think it should go further than that. But I wouldn't roll my eyes as much as I would have done otherwise, and I don't really know why that is. And it could tie into everything you've just said. Maybe the booking has got so convoluted and so weird and kind of shifted gears so much that now I'm not looking at it in the same way that I would be. And there is a small part of me that's being a bit of a troll. Like, if Charlotte or Ronda won, I want it to happen just to see how the internet would react. I think Twitter would be so funny. I get so much enjoyment from that. I think it would be okay. But yeah, I'm not in set in stone as I think that Becky Lynch should win again, because it makes sense for the narrative we're telling. But from me as a fan, I'm not as fussed as I was. I'm quite happy if WWE wants to pull a fast one, and I'll just enjoy it for the ride it is.
Simon, we're both watching WWE for a billion years, and we both know that the end of this match is Ronda Rousey in the disarm her, tapping out.
Oh yeah, I'd assume so. One of the, or maybe Charlotte if they want to try and do something down the line.
No. Charlotte's gonna be outside after like a stupid moonsault, holding her knee or something, and it's gonna be Becky in the middle of the ring after a few attempts of run, and she's going to tap out, and the whole crowd is going to go ballistic. That's the end of WrestleMania, and they're building it since she turned heel, and then and there's no other solution. Now, on the other hand, we have I don't know. You'll probably want to talk about also Roman Reigns and stuff, and I think they just called him early, and he's supposed to show up after WrestleMania. That's what I think.
What was that again? Sorry, man. You think about what, Roman Reigns?
I think he's supposed to show up the night the Raw after WrestleMania.
Oh, you think that was the plan originally?
I mean, I think they should have.
You think they should have? Oh, right, I see.
They should, even if he's healthy and even if he's fine, and you know, we don't need him in WrestleMania. He has no storyline. He has nothing. He has, you know, we have Seth versus Brock Lesnar. They do the thing, and then the big dog is coming to claim. But you know what? If they're already done this story right now, of course, storylines. I mean, throughout the storyline, I mean, when Dean turned heel. I mean, Roman coming back and saying all this stuff about, you know, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's get the band back together and blah, blah, blah. And this is all, I really, really hope that they're going to make Roman get the band together just for him to turn on them. That's the only reason, that's the only logic thing to be done with the story. Because any other option will be just boring and not interesting at all.
Wait.
And also, I think, I mean, going back to our conversation, I think a few months back, Roman Reigns did not turn heel because people were booing him. So you can't turn someone heel if they're booing him, right? Now they're cheering him. Now Vince actually got what he wanted, and it took cancer to do that. Sure. Now it's time to turn on the crowd and telling him, oh, now you're cheering me? I don't need you now.
Dude, there's no way. There's no way this is going to happen.
Now I don't need you now. And then they're going to really, 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 really boo him because we need a different Roman Reigns character. We need the heel Roman Reigns, like a monster that going and like a tractor on like everybody. And because the face Roman Reigns is not, it's not good for business.
Okay. I can't believe there's any scenario where after where after 5 years of trying to get this man cheered, that they finally get to a position where it's happened and they go, okay, we're going to turn him heel. I understand your logic. I really, really do. I understand your point of view. It's a very, very strange situation because we had all the craziness before, and I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. Now, all I care about Roman Reigns is the fact that he's healthy. That's all I care about because real life is so much more important than professional wrestling. You know, even if they did try and do something like that, I put my hands up and go, no, I don't care. I'm just happy that Roman Reigns is back. But I would be amazed if WWE took that path.
I'm happy for him too, and I hope he will live until 120. But the WrestleMania mid card or whatever it's going to be in the middle of the show is Roman Reigns super punch, Dean Ambrose or something, and turning. Oh, you know what? He's going to interfere in the Seth Rollins Brock match, and he's going to cost Seth the title. Now I decided, I just thought about it right now, and he's going to claim, he's going to turn heel, and everybody's going to love it. And maybe after he's interfering, Seth's still winning, and then the main event on the next pay-per-view will be heel Roman Reigns versus champion Seth Rollins.
It's amazing. I mean, look, it'd be an incredible story, and I think it would get a huge reaction, especially online. But
Vince has to know that people will turn on him. It's just a matter of time. Like, okay, cancer and everything, we're all happy for him. If he's going to continue with this stupid character, people will boo him once again. So it's time in the next few months, I think, at WrestleMania to turn him heel. That will be the best for business.
I can't see it. I cannot see it. I can't see it. I can't. I will be flabbergasted. I will be
text Bruce Pritchard. I told him to tell Vince.
I will be absolutely shocked if we put all this time and effort and we finally get to and not only that, I mean, for me especially, I like all the love that Roman Reigns is getting at the moment because, again, it feels like Yeah, it just feels like something that is bigger than pro wrestling, and hopefully he goes on to continue to get healthier and healthier. He can be an advocate for leukemia, and he can go out there and be a source for good. I mean, that's my thing with it. But who knows what they've got up their sleeve? I don't necessarily mind him coming back before WrestleMania 2 because I think we were going to get a 6-man tag at Fastlane anyway. And while it is a bit ridiculous how many times the Shield get back together, I still think they carry more star power than most. And it all depends who he faces at WrestleMania. I mean, the rumor is he's going to take on Baron Corbin. Not very good. Not a match I really want to see. But look, who was Baron Corbin going to face? It's not like they're taking somebody else out of that spot. I mean, what I would like to see, and I've mentioned this a lot, what I would ideally, at Fastlane on Sunday, I would like to see Dean Ambrose turn on the Shield, because that would make sense in terms of him not wanting to join, then all of a sudden decide, I'm going to join, and then you do the Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose match we were meant to get anyway at this WrestleMania. Then Roman can beat him. Dean Ambrose is leaving anyway. I kind of feel like that ticks a load of boxes and seals the story up nicely. So, to me, as long as Roman Reigns doesn't get involved in any of the matches that we do want, e.g., Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, and of course he may do, but as long as he doesn't, I think having him on the WrestleMania card is just, I think it's just better. And I think that reaction that he got when he came back a couple of weeks ago was so just nice, and it was just so good to see someone beaming with happiness that I don't think I could ever crap over it too much. I'm not saying you're crapping over it, but whenever they were going to do that, before Mania, after Mania, in a year's time, whatever, it was just an amazing moment. And for him to come back only 4 months after, he said he had to go away. I don't know. I just think that story trumps any story that WWE could have written. But if none of this does happen, what happens in the Shield match on Sunday then? Is it just going to be a very cut and dry win? Shield go in there, beat Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre, then go away again?
I can't look at those three and on TV. It's too annoying. It's too long. When I see Baron Corbin and Bobby and Drew McIntyre, I mean, McIntyre has the potential to be, I don't know, like a different booking. And Bobby Lashley with Leo Rush, they can do something with both of them together, maybe as a tag team. I would get behind it because they're really like opposite, but they're really good together, I think. I hope Leo Rush is not getting too much heat backstage. I don't know if I read something about it a while ago. But Baron Corbin, I mean, can he just be on the pre-show or something?
No, apparently.
At WrestleMania or like Andre the Giant, and then someone can throw him up first or something, and then we can not hear about him for a while.
Apparently, it's not even apparently, the pre-show is 100% going to be Andrade versus Rey Mysterio, which is crazy. Not on Fastlane, of WrestleMania.
Oh,
WrestleMania! Well, maybe Baron Corbin could be in the Battle Royal for all we know. I mean, I if nothing happens on Sunday and there's no shenanigans,
he's not. I mean, he's not interested. I mean, I get that he has something to offer, but he's not interesting right now. I mean, people don't want to see him on TV, and he's getting a very big portion of Raw ever since he became a GM, and that's bad. I mean, it was a few weeks ago when they had a match, and then they stopped it, and then with like Finn Balor, and then they turned it into a tag team, and it was another referee came and they restarted the match. It was like a 45-minute match, right? A 45-minute segment a few weeks ago with all of them. And that was the longest thing I've ever seen in my life. I fast forward so fast on my DVR. I'm like, why are you doing this? And then they stopped the match, and then they restart the match again because another referee came. And I'm like, no, stop it. We don't want to see it anymore. I don't know.
I think everybody involved in that match on the heel side needs to be separated as soon as possible, and the people that aren't on it. So Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Elias, they all need different programs or just something different, because right now it feels like everything they do is just rolling into one.
Boring.
Yeah,
boring.
It all feels the same. Every week it feels the same.
I'm not invested at all. I'm not invested. I don't know what's the connection of Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. I don't know why they're together. They don't need to be together. I don't care if they lose. I don't care if they win. I don't care if nothing. I mean, now the Shield, yes, people really love it, and whoop-de-doo. After the 17,000 time that they reunited, okay, perfect. Let's do one again. They have to do it just for Roman Reigns to turn heel. That's the only option.
Dude, I mean, it's just not going to happen, my friend.
Dean was stabbed him in the back in the day that he announced the leukemia. So I think Roman, they running him like a nice touch story that is going to, oh no, I forgive you, everything is fine, there's no tomorrow, and then they're going to punch him in the face for doing everything that, and then I don't know, and then I guess he's going to, I don't know if he's going to AEW or something, but Dean Ambrose, I don't know if he's really living or everything is a work.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's what got interesting this week, because obviously he's now being featured in a prominent position. Then there was a bunch of rumors saying that he may stay. So all of a sudden, you're like, and also it was weird that WWE announced it anyway. We're not used to WWE doing that. Usually they're very secretive, and you don't want to give somebody a platform if they are leaving your promotion, and yet they did. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. But to me, even if Roman Reigns does punch Dean Ambrose in the face, that still makes Roman Reigns a face, because of everything that Dean Ambrose said. I'd be like, yeah, you were well within your rights to do that. Like he was an absolute bastard. You're allowed to punch him in the face. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think the Shield are just going to win. It's just going to be a very simple cut and dry match, and that will be that. And then hopefully...
Oh, Fastlane is the most predictable pay-per-view of all time.
Do you think?
Fastlane is the worst one of them all.
What about the Oscar match, though? Because I have actually, the two matches I have funny feelings about are Oscar versus Mandy Rose and the women's tag team match. Because I know what WWE is like. The Oscar one I'm actually a bit more confident on. I think Oscar will win. But when it comes to the women's tag team matches, I can absolutely see that... I can just see them looking at Tamina and Nia Jax going, they're a monster heel tag team. They'll get proper heat. It gives Sasha Banks and Bayley a new hurdle to overcome. I don't think... I'd usually say they've only just, anointed new champions, so you certainly don't want to take them off at this stage. But they never do that. They never do that. If they want to take something off, they just do it. They don't ever think about it. And... I predict that Bayley and Sasha Banks will win, but if somebody said, I had to bet on every single match, but I could not bet on one, that is the one that I would take out, because I've just got this sinking feeling that they have this belief, not this belief, but they like her. They like Nia Jax, right? They like her, and they think she looks intimidating, which she certainly does, and I can see there being some kind of shenanigans and Nia Jax and Tamina winning the tag team championships. I don't want that, but I can see it.
You think so?
I was just worried. I'm just worried.
No, I mean, those two matches that you mentioned, first of all, I didn't know there is a match between Asuka and Mandy Rose.
Yeah, now there is. Yeah. Dude, it's not your fault, dude.
From existence since you won the SmackDown championship.
The build hasn't been great. The build has been very rushed, very all over the place.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I get the titles. I mean, you can't have the Raw Women's Championship main event WrestleMania and have the center of attention of all the programming in SmackDown and Raw, and then the women's the SmackDown's Women's Championship it's not existed at all. And nobody even wants to claim it. And nobody even challenging Asuka. And Asuka is not even on TV. It doesn't make any sense at all. And people, and we talked about it last time. I mean, I'm watching the product because people need to they have a goal. They want to win championships. It's wins and championships, right?
Yeah.
So if nobody, so no one wants to, so Ronda and Charlotte and Becky's gonna fight for this championship, but what about this championship? Like, why is not this is like the same? It's the same title just on SmackDown, and nobody wants to take it. And then I don't know about Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose got better. She's not going to beat Asuka. She's not going to beat her. Naomi was in the last SmackDown. Mandy Rose beat Naomi in what it was like 60 seconds, 90 seconds.
I mean that was literally done. I think it was 44 seconds was the official count. But
oh my God.
But I think that was just done because she is fighting Asuka on Sunday. And they thought to themselves, we've got to make her look strong. And I'm an advocate for that. I've always
said... Naomi, though?
But that's what I don't get. What I don't get is why in this bizarre feud between Mandy Rose and Naomi, which never had a proper payoff, all of a sudden Mandy Rose kicks her ass every single time.
They took me back to the Divas, in 2003 when she beat her in 44 seconds. Like there is no airtime for them or something. They couldn't make her look strong with with a 5-minute match, I think, or 4-minute match, or 6-minute match, and have some kind of a different offense and book it a little bit better. But no, we have to see her finishing move and 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That doesn't make any sense at all. And then as far as Becky and Sasha and Bailey are going into WrestleMania as the tag team champions, 100%.
I hope you're right, dude, man. I'm with it. I'm worried. So let's go through the rest of the card as we're here. I think Charlotte versus Becky Lynch is interesting. I mean, obviously Becky Lynch has to get.
That's the only thing interesting. Yeah, but we all know what the outcome of that.
Yeah, but do we though? I mean, obviously, the end result in some fashion has to be Becky Lynch going to WrestleMania, right? That's not. I'm not
Somehow,
saying.
Yeah.
But that's the point is though. And again, this is what I mean about WWE. They're so unpredictable with their booking. Sometimes I don't know what to expect because in my head, if I've made this match, I don't want Charlotte Flair to lose 4 weeks before WrestleMania. I don't think that does anything for her. However, Becky Lynch also has to win. So in my head, surely you have Ronda Rousey just march out there, not even at the end. Halfway through the match, she beats everybody up. Admittedly, look, a really crap finish. Nobody likes that. But that's the only thing I can see. The match kind of just finishes. And then on Raw, you've got Stephanie McMahon going, look, you people need to figure out your issues. Therefore, you're all going to fight in this triple threat match WrestleMania, and then we'll be done with it.
Yeah, or that, or just Charlotte is going to disqualify herself, just trying to hurt Becky even more, and then Becky wins via disqualification, and then they go on to WrestleMania. Also,
well, yeah, you know what? That they could do that. The reason I would prefer them not to do that is because that's so reminiscent for what they did at Survivor Series. I'm going to be like, okay, we're kind of, that is the problem with this. Not only the problem with the story, that's the problem with wrestling altogether. Sometimes you just wake up and realize you backed yourself into a corner. I don't know how to get out of this, but it's not really, it is about, well, no, they say it's the journey, not the destination. Sometimes it is about the destination. And like I say, I think as long as we get to WrestleMania 35 and Becky Lynch comes out of it being the women's champ, everything's fine. That's all that matters at this point, and we're pretty close. So we can
because it's like the WrestleMania 25 when with Triple H and Randy Orton had a very good story, and they build it up and then the match was just
so
awful.
Weird. I rewatched that the other day because I did a What Culture list about
because
it.
They also followed Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
Yes, but it was just so weird because they'd both been saying to each other, "I want to kill you," and you broke into my house.
Yeah,
and
they
this and
broke
that.
into the house,
and then
everything was they done literally everything in that feud, and they built it up pretty good. I mean, Randy kissed Stephanie with head cups and everything. Oh my god, that was so. Oh my god.
But then
there is such good moments there, but it's
the first thing they went and did in a match though. Is they locked up.
They're locked
up.
It's like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose after when they're locking up. I mean, are you kidding me? We don't want to see a wrestling match. Make it, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how to, but as far as I wanted to tell you something about Becky. Are you not tired seeing Becky on with one leg?
Yes, I understand why they're doing it. I mean, you smashed it earlier when you said they're treating her like Daniel Bryan. They want to build as much sympathy for her as possible, even though they don't need to. Like, you only need to build sympathy for a babyface if she needs sympathy. Everybody's behind Becky Lynch already. Like, she could be like Austin. She could just run through everyone. The real issue I have with it is that I know on Sunday she's not going to sell her leg. Not Becky's problem. That is the position she's been pushed into. But the injury isn't really playing into anything because the whole point was at first she was injured and that's why she was going to be kept out of the match. But then halfway through that storyline, Stephanie McMahon goes, don't worry about it. You can just come back anyways. It's like, okay, I didn't need to invest in that at all. And how do you get through a match of her supposedly having a bag lead 6 days prior, unless it is some kind of ruse and she's been lying? But if she has been lying, you're a bit like, well, that was a dick move. So, yeah, I don't think we needed the knee. I think at first it was okay, but to drag out this long. And the other thing that I don't get as well is, and this is me being a massive pedant, I'm not going to think about this other than the conversation we're about to have, but why wasn't her arm injured? Why wasn't her arm injured on SmackDown after it got put in the armbar like 5 times, and yet we're still focusing on the leg? Surely now she should come out in a cast on her leg, on her arm, on her head. Surely she's been beaten up.
Oh, man. That's true. First of all, she needs to sell the arm too. But the leg thing has been going on since Royal Rumble, since Nia Jax pushed her and we didn't even need that. The final, like when she got on the stairs and going in the ring one-on-one against Charlotte was a beautiful, beautiful moment. It was like there's a WrestleMania moment. We call it the Royal Rumble moment, okay? But we didn't need Nia to push her and to oversell. Okay, now is the knee, and now it's this, and now it's that. It's like they putting, other people say in their podcast. Sometimes they're putting too much salt in the sauce. They're putting too much spices. Right now, the pasta is not gonna taste right because it's. Everything was delivered to them on a silver spoon. I mean, it was just ready for them just to enjoy it. The chef just made this meal. Go ahead, just eat it. Don't put any pepper, don't put any salt. I put the exact amount. Everybody's going to enjoy it, and everything is going to be fine. And you have room for dessert. But they had to mess it up since the Nia Jax push on the stairs of Becky Lynch. I've seen her since then until now, just with one leg, and it's getting. I'm really, really annoyed by that. I don't want to see another Daniel Bryan. I want to see badass Becky Lynch. I don't want her to apologize to Stephanie and Triple H when Vince McMahon is going to suspend her for 60 days. And then, I don't know, everything just, they overdo it.
Well, they've got a history of doing it, right? If you remember back at WrestleMania 24, whatever, I can't even remember, when Bret Hart, you had the Bret Hart-Vince McMahon match. And that story was tailor-made. Like, it'd been, 10 years in the making, or probably 13 years, whatever it was. And they had, again, like you said, they added so many extra bits to it. We're like, I don't need this. I already know Vince McMahon's motivations. I know Bret Hart's motivations. I know about the story because I've been a wrestling fan for this amount of time. That's all people ever want to talk about. And yet they continue to slot things in there. I was like, what are you doing? You don't need to do this. Absolutely crazy. So I think it's just something they're guilty of. I don't think it's been as bad in this one, but you're right. There's the fact that it has been that long. That is one hell of a long injury, right? It's like a 2-month injury.
Yeah, I mean, Simon, Bret Hart is our favorite ones. I mean, both you and I, and we both deleted this WrestleMania moment from our heads, right? We're not going to think about this Bret Hart Vince McMahon feud. I don't want even to remember that. It doesn't exist. It never happened. I mean,
the worst.
For me, Bret Hart was considered with Shawn Michaels in the ring was the moment when he came back on Raw, and that's it. For all I care, his last match was at Survivor Series 97.
No, yeah. The last thing I'll say about it is probably one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever, and I hate the fact that Bret Hart was involved in it. But hey ho, what are you going to do? Let's run through the other matches before we do start to wrap up. Usos versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry. Usos will win. Surely The Miz and Shane McMahon break up, and then they go on to have a match at WrestleMania, right?
WrestleMania. Mm-hmm.
Who goes heel, though?
Usos, by the way, great. Their promo on Tuesday was great. I love the Usos.
They're great. They're so underrated still. They are absolutely brilliant.
Wow. I think they are the best tag team right now currently in the wrestling world.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
We do have a pre-show of the Andrade versus Rey Mysterio, right?
Yes, we do.
Everybody's so upset about it. Everybody's so upset about it. It's in the pre-show because it's not a part of the. But I don't know, if you don't want to do the fast lane so long, yeah, it has to be on a pre-show. But I don't mind them having another 20-minute match and then make it 3.5 hours.
No, who do you think's going to win it? I went for Andrade and I got slaughtered because people told me that Vince is never gonna let him win. I was like, well, he has won before.
I hope Andrade's going to win.
Yeah, me too. I think it will. I think he'll win.
Because Rey Mysterio's position right now is to put people over.
Yeah, exactly. He's got no feud. He's got nothing else going on. So why not let him put Andrade over? Got nothing wrong.
And
with
he's old.
Yeah,
he's also old, and he needs to have some, to pass the torch, especially to Andrade. Andrade is super, super talented, and they have really, really great matches. To have great chemistry together.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens.
Oh my God, Kevin Owens! I'm so happy that he's back.
I know, but he's going to lose in his first match. Apparently, what's that about?
But listen. I was in Vegas a week ago on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I watched from my hotel room in Vegas. I think I watched Kevin Owens came back, and then I saw the Stunner is back. The Stone Cold Steve Austin Stunner is back. And I love it because it goes back to the, because he was in his podcast, and then they joked about, I don't know if you heard it, back in the day, that he uses one time his stunner, and then Stone Cold was making fun of him.
Yeah.
Like, did you just did what I think you did? And then so him having, and then also, and then last Tuesday he said the bottom line is wink wink, and nobody mentioned it. It was just brilliant. And it's Kevin Owens, and I don't mind Kevin Owens. I want him to win everything. And I hope he's going to be somehow in the maybe triple threat, maybe in WrestleMania.
I hope so. I don't want him to lose and that be that. I want him in it, but
he can't lose clean, right?
Well, I hope not, man. I would kill me. It would kill me.
Maybe Luke Harper or something, or Warren obviously will get involved or something.
I'll take it. I don't care. Whatever shenanigans we need, just do not let Kevin Owens lose clean. He's only been back a week.
I know Kofi should come back and
but he can't interfere. He's the goodest of all the good guys. He can't do that.
Yeah. Do you think he will win the championship?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced, but I think there must have been a reason why we switched these matches around. So yeah, I think
you
Kofi
said
will win.
Yes. I think it's going to win it, and it sounds like you have like a lemon in your mouth when you said it. It's like
no. I want. The thing is that I want Kofi to win, but I also then don't know what we do afterwards. The whole thing has become very, very convoluted very, very quickly. But no, I do think he'll win.
Okay. Do you wanna? Because I have something to say about Kofi and everything.
Do it, man. Hit me with it.
I think first of all, if everybody is all hyped about the Kofi thing, which is very nice and dandy, I think it was also Mustafa Ali's moment to do all of that. I don't know if he's ready for that exactly, but let's do Kofi. Stop with the pancakes. Because I don't want the WWE champion going on the ramp and have pancakes and stuff like that and get stuff a little bit more serious. And I mean, I don't want everything to become a joke,
Yeah.
And then when he does win, let Big E turn on him, or both of them, and then Big E challenging him for the title, and then we have a new WWE champion as Big E. And then everybody's still going to be behind Kofi because Big E is going to turn heel, and then Big E is going to take the championship, and then you can build something after that, after WrestleMania, with a program against his, because they can't move on with a New Day as Kofi being champion.
I like it. I like it a lot. I just can't see it happening. I don't think Big E and Xavier Woods would go along with it. And that sounds crazy because surely they don't have that much power backstage, but I think they do. I think they'd be so venom against it that I like it because I think it would make for a great story. And I think it kind of justifies Kofi Kingston winning that championship because you do get, that is a ready-made feud. If you have a bad guy Big E taking on Kofi Kingston after they've been together that long for the WWE championship.
It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. You're right, it is. And it would be so fascinating to watch if everybody plays their parts well. And I think they would. They really take a misstep. But I don't know. There's something in me. I can't explain it. There's no reasons. It's like when someone goes heel and they never explain why. I don't have a why. I just feel like they wouldn't do it.
Oh, Big E and Kofi?
I don't think they do it. I don't think they turn Big E heel.
Now that you become champion and you think you're better than us and blah, 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 and we've been with you, and then I don't know. And then they don't have to do it immediately. They can do it after a few weeks.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
Have Kofi change his attitude or something a little bit, and then,
I hope you're right. I really, really do. I think it would be excellent. I think coming out of WrestleMania, it'd be a ready-made storyline that would keep you going for ages.
The fact that Kofi is there for 11 years doesn't mean that you are deserving the championship opportunity. I am the biggest one, and I am the one that should be this. Yes, I'm a little bit less time here than you, but I'm much, much better and much, much stronger, and I will squash you with my finger. And that's, of course they can do that.
Yeah, I do. I'd like it. My gut says, I'm not so sure. But hey, man, we'll find out. We'll find out very soon. Yeah. Who else? So we've done Charlotte versus Becky. Who do you think is going to turn heel, by the way, out of Shane McMahon and The Miz?
I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking about it a few days ago. What if Shane will turn heel and then what's his name is going to be babyface, but he's going to be such a good babyface, and people are behind him a little bit. And then we'll have the WrestleMania moment that we all wanted for Daniel Bryan in the midst for the championship.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do that.
No, I don't think they're going to do that. Right, last one as well. The Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. I think the whole reason this was made a triple threat match is that the Revival can win and Aleister Black and Ricochet don't have to take the pin.
That's for the championship?
Yep, it's for the championship. Yeah, that's why I think Gable and Roode are in it. Because if Gable and Roode are in it, Dash and Wilder and Dawson can pin them. And even though Ricochet and Aleister don't win, at least they didn't technically lose. And I can't see them get pinned this early. It's nonsense.
They can't lose, but they can win the championship now, right? Because they have to win it like a WrestleMania or something.
Well, I'd rather that. And I don't think you take the belts off the Revival now. It's too soon. If we're trying to rebuild this tag team division and we've finally given it to those two guys, I don't see the point in taking it off them now. It makes it become transitional champions, and I don't think they want that. So I
just saw the NXT of last night, and they had the tag team classic. They're in it.
Yeah, they are. That's
Aleister
right.
Black
yeah, they are. Yeah.
And, so they're going for all the championships, huh?
Dude, if they want to do that, that's all right with me. Do you know how much that would help them as characters? Can you imagine they come out with like 4 belts? That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, but now they have to change stuff because I think that the main event was supposed to be the Forgotten Sons against them. Because Gargano and Ciampa are no longer because he's injured. I don't know.
Yeah, the Ciampa thing's changed things a lot, but I think he had surgery today, so all the best. I hope he recovers soon. Absolutely sucks. Horrible timing. Horrible timing.
Yeah. Just come back as a heel.
Yeah, exactly. None of this face nonsense anymore.
Vince, you have one more chance with Tommaso Ciampa. Don't screw it up.
There you go. And if not, Cheval's going to come after you, Vince. He's going to kick your ass. Right. Yeah, and on that note, we will bring it to the close. Dude, as always, just the best conversation, man. I love your opinions. I love them. They're fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's good.
I'm trying my best.
No, you don't hold back, man. That's all I ever ask. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you do. Just don't hold back. It's the best. It's the absolute best. So, dude, have you got anything else you want to promote? Any Twitter, social media, or anything like that?
No, not in the moment.
There we go. Nothing. Nice and easy, Cheval. That's why I like him. Well, look, do make sure you subscribe to the podcast from iTunes. Hit the subscribe button. Obviously, it's on YouTube as well. YouTube.com/The Minute Report Rules. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. And go catch up with some old episodes too. People always ask me, oh, Miller, you got a podcast? Yeah, I do. Go listen to them all. It would make me happy. And of course, all of it is supported by Patreon.com/SimonMiller316. Everybody enjoy the pay-per-view on Sunday. And when we're out of this other side of that, we can start heading towards WrestleMania. But thanks for listening as always. And I'll talk to you again next week where we'll see what happened at Fastlane.